Avalokiteshvara would be an approximate American English pronunciation. Avalokiteshvara. The name combines the verbal prefix ava, down, lokita, a past participle of the verb lok, to notice, behold, or observe, here used in the active sense, and finally Ishvara, Lord, ruler, sovereign, or master, in accordance with Sandhi, which is Sanskrit rules of sound combination. A plus Ishvara becomes Esvara. Combined, all of the parts mean Lord who gazes down at the world. The word loka, world, is absent from the name, but the phrase is implied through the phoneme lok. Got that? Now, the legendary story that goes along with this name says that this entity inhabits a zone of sublime supernatural power somewhere beyond the physical world, and yet at the same time completely and totally permeates the physical world. The Bodhisattva is described as having 1,000 arms, and at the end of each arm is a hand, and in that hand is an eye. Now, any time that a sentient being, such as a human being, faces a problem or a situation, or needs guidance or protection, or needs to know something in that moment, Avalokiteshvara extends its hand, and the sentient being, looking through the eye in the hand, sees what it needs to see, what it needs to know, where it needs to go to be well and protected, and to go on its proper way in the world. Such is the fairy tale that accompanies this particular entity from the field of Mahayana Buddhism. So much for the technicalities. Fear not, this unit does not present a tedious discourse on Buddhism, sprinkled and spiced up with Sanskrit and Tibetan terms. It's a straightforward riff on the Gaian tantric practice of self-love. To get into it, I take a moment, or allow me a moment, if you would be so kind, to rummage through some of the rubble. For instance, look at this family album snapshot of the boy child, taken to be the 14th in a line of lamas, whose presence in the world affords a channel for the emanation of a supernatural agency, the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. Actually, I prefer to say Avalokiteshvara. So, there it is. Have you ever seen that before? It's the enthronement photo taken on February 22nd, 1940 in Lhasa, Tibet, of the 14th Dalai Lama. He was born Thlamo Thundup on the 6th of July, 1935, in China. Now, on day 4 of the current Tantra Mother shift, this child turned 84 years old. Recently, in an interview with a leftist dupe, he caused a considerable stir by saying that if he reincarnates again, it will be as a hot woman. Not worth it unless she's hot, he said, laughing in his usual ingenuous manner. The family album is tattered and stained, The glue smells faintly like spoilt milk. Somewhere along the way, a distant cousin or someone else, perhaps a passing stranger headed for Bhutan, or the local arrow maker, penned a short note and clipped it with a hairpin to the torn page where the photo is mounted. It takes the form of a little poem. The Lament of the High-Born Lama. If I retreat from human pain beneath a gilded roof, my heart does not reside at ease. My lonely and aloof demeanor goes uneffaced. No person for the proof. The neophytes cry in the yard, their garments rough, their logic full of rage at human stuff. My contemplations keep me mired in this bluff. There's not a woman to be found on the Patala's turf. The only woman I once loved has spilled away like surf. The mother of my own true mind hath left me in the lurch. Buddhists today believe that the 14th Dalai Lama uniquely incarnates an emanation of Avalokiteshvara. I don't know if the Dalai Lama himself makes that claim. I might somewhere, sometime, recount a little anecdote about the dinner party I attended for the Dalai Lama in Santa Fe around 1990. Compassion rendered. In planetary Tantra, you do not have to believe anything about any such emanations. The devatas of the Shakti cluster are discrete frequencies in the telluric field of the earth, period. They are as physically real as wind and water. Compare them to stations on an old-fashioned radio dial. You run through the stations by turning the dial. Each station features different content, for instance, Cuban music or classical music. The account of a sailing adventure in the Galapagos. Poems by Dylan Thomas. The frequency bands are specialized. They carry signature acoustics which can be identified by a name given to their source. Bhudevi, Shodashi, Kamala, Matangi. These names have to be assigned. The sources do not give them. All frequencies have feminine names due to all being emanations from the ground matrix of the earth, which itself is the dream body of the Aeons of Fire, a galactic divinity of female gender. Aeons are gendered. So are electromagnetic currents and plasmatic torrents, which are abundant in the universe. Now in PT, Avalokiteshvara is Tantra Mother, but this is not a mere equation that identifies the two. It is a conversion. Tantra Mother is altogether more and beyond anything that Avalokiteshvara has been claimed to be. With the terma of Gaia awakening, the wisdom goddess herself renders Avalokiteshvara into Tantra Mother, as butter is rendered into ghee, fat into tallow. Any reference of body, speech, or mind that goes to Avalokiteshvara now shifts to Tantra Mother, or if it does not, it veers into an impasse, a dead end. Consistent with the act of rendering accomplished by the Aeonic Mother, who emanates an aspect of her power through frequency 12, Tantra Mother, a.k.a. Vajrayogini, a.k.a. Miss Piggy, you can respond with your own act of rendering. You first turn everything that you feel to which you attach the notion or the quality or the inner sensation of compassion or any emotion connected to any belief about it into self-love. You render all your compassion for anyone whatsoever individually and for humanity at large into self-love, as butter is rendered into ghee, fat into tallow. Do it right now. As you undertake the rendering, bear this in mind. This act of conversion applies uniquely to your compassion for other human animals, not for non-human animals or any form of non-human life. You set aside and separate that compassion for so-called sentient beings other than human from what you consider to be the compassion you feel toward those fellow tads of all races and nations, as you would separate the white of an egg from its yolk. The yolk goes into self-love. The white of transparent albumin remains aside for all sentient non-human creatures. Feel it. Feel how it runs through your fingers like threads of a sticky, fluid web. Such is the feel of the sticky, messy web of life in which the thread of your life is interwoven, intermeshed with the life of all your relations and of all sentient beings. Form is void and void is form. That's a quotation from the Heart Sutra, which consists of only those two lines, which can be combined into one line. This is no yoke. Desire is the measure of all compassion. So, are you with me? Are you getting this? What I say, like Ray Charles? Are you getting what I say? Your hold on compassion for other human animals is like the clutch of your palm gathered around the yolk of an egg. Can you hold the yolk in place as you raise or lower your palm vertically to make the gesture of the teaching hand that contains the teaching eye? This is no joke. This exercise shows you the grasp you actually have on human compassion. It also teaches you that the looking down into yourself of self-love fosters the eye of instruction for imparting compassion to others. In any instance or setting where you can actually, authentically do so, not merely pretend to do so, not merely fake it, make believe, which is all you know of compassion,